Hey everybody, it's Aaron J. Anderson here, and man, it's been a long time since I did a video. The last video I did was the kit lens versus the Tamron and why I'm actually going with the kit lens. And the video before that was telling you guys that the Sony A7C is the perfect camera for me. Out of all the cameras that I've had in the past and all the ones that are even just rumored coming out, the Sony A7C is still the most perfect camera that has ever been created. Now, of course, I haven't tried every camera, but I don't have to try all the cameras because I know they all don't have the features that I like in a camera. So check out those videos. In this video, it's mainly a test because me and David Osler are going to start doing our live shows again, and so the angle might change here a little bit, but my main concern was, do I have enough space and is the audio better? That's like the main thing. For one, the background is just great carpeting, so I don't have to worry about if the background's clean or tidy. I don't have to turn on all the little lamps that I had that kind of looked pretty, but it just took too much time, and I just do not have time to do YouTube videos. That's why you don't see a lot of YouTube videos from me. We're going to talk about lenses because I told you guys when I did the Sony A7C or the Tamron versus kit lens video that I will come back and tell you guys the lenses that I've decided on. And I'm not quite there yet, but there is a new lens in the house that might change everything. But first of all, let's talk about the lenses that I've been using up to this point since my last video. And I do no longer have the Tamron 28-75 2.8. I rated that as my all-time favorite lens only because I actually do like the quality of it, the output of it and everything else, but it was just such a convenient lens, as we all know zooms are. However, I love prime lenses, so my number one favorite lens that just made the most exciting shots for me, and that's the Sony Zeiss 55mm f1.8. That's probably my most pleasing image making lens, but it was just kind of beat out by the Tamron just because I used the Tamron like 100% of the time, whereas the Zeiss I didn't. But I love prime, so that's kind of where I'm at, and that's why I got rid of the Tamron for the kit lens, is because I love prime so much. I rather have some small prime lenses and have this in the bag when I want to do just run and gun street photography. I could use this for fashion shoots, as I said in my last video, because I don't shoot at f1.8 or 2.8. I'm typically shooting at f4 and f5.6 and f8. This lens right here is sharper in the corners than the Tamron. It vignettes less. I think it vignettes a little less than the Tamron. It's smaller, and it does great for the fashion shoots that I do, and for street photography it's amazing. Now, there's different genres of street photography. A lot of people have come to love like an 85mm at f1.8 or whatever, so that they can really target one individual or object and have the foreground and background completely blurred, and it's a cool look. But a lot of like historical photographers or street photographers typically used a 28, a 35, or maybe a 50, and they usually have a lot in focus, so that when they see something, they can just raise their camera and photograph it. And before autofocus was as good as it is now, they would actually do a zone where they would focus, 10 feet from me, this is in focus. So, and then they would have not that shallow depth of field. They'd have a lot in focus. So that way, when they see something, they know, hey, I just need to get within 10 feet and it's going to be focused. So it's kind of that style of photography. So for me, this type of photography kind of fits into that because it's not a lens that's going to give you blurry background. It's going to get a lot of stuff in focus, but you could still at f4, at f2.8 get close to a subject and get those blurry backgrounds. However, when you do go into low light situations, or you're in Central Park under a bridge on a cloudy day, or even in a wooded area on a cloudy day, you can have really low light situations, and this isn't going to quite cut it, especially when you go indoors and you don't have the ability to do portraits and blur the background for artistic type of situation. So for that, I can't have just this lens. I always, on my Peak Design, let me get my Peak Design real quick so you guys see it. So here is my Peak Design. Now this is the 5-liter. I've showed this many times. I am a minimalist when it comes to photography. I even have that in my title, is a minimalistic approach to photography, because I don't like a lot of gear. I like small, light stuff. And The gear in the last, I don't know, maybe 4 years or so-ish, something like that. The gear has to fit in this. It's a Peak Design 5 liter. This is the older style. They have a new 6 liter and a 3 liter. I find that the 5 liter is still best for me. So my gear has to fit in here, whether I'm doing a wedding or whatever. Now, when I do photo shoots like weddings or the fashion shoots I do for magazines, of course I have a bigger backpack with flash and flash stands and stuff like that. But this is almost always on me during that shoot, and in here will be my camera and my lenses. And an extra battery and a card, whatever. And this is always on me, whether it's a wedding or a fashion shoot or whatever, or street photography. So it's got to fit in here. And because of that, I like small, lightweight gear. That's why I love the Sony A7C. When I have this on the camera, I have to have at least 2 fast primes. And that would be a 50mm f1.8 or faster, and a 24mm lens or faster. Now, f1.8 or faster. So they all got to fit in here. And the lenses that I've been using have been the 50mm Sony or the Sony Zeiss 55mm. I go back and to between those because the Sony Zeiss is better in every respect than the cheaper 50mm, but it's really close. I mean, it's real close. But there is a little extra sauce, a little extra juice in the 55mm. A 50mm has to go in here, and a 24. Now the 24mm that I was using is, for many years now, is the Samyang 24mm f2.8. Now I know they just came out with an f1.8, and that, you know, I'm kind of looking at that. But why I like the 24 2.8 is because it's literally smaller than this. It's even a more pancake lens. And because I don't use 24 all that often, only for specific shots, or if I'm using this and I'm in a low light situation, do I get it out? And because it's small, lightweight, and inexpensive, it can also fit in the bottom of this bag along with the Zeiss or the 50 while I'm using this. But that's a 3 lens setup that I have to have when using this. Now, if I don't need that run and gun type of feeling, or I just want to take this in the Sony A7C out and just, I can zoom in, I can zoom out, and do all these different shots. What I could do is just use the 50mm, whatever one I choose, because I could do about 80% of my photography, and I mean like most of all my photography, except my jewelry photography, which we'll talk about in a minute. I could do all that with a 50, but almost every time during a day I do have to switch it out for the 24. So I'm still switching lenses there. So that's why I say a 50mm is about 80% of the time. So 24 is not used all that often. So those are the 3 lenses I'm using. Now, I did have the Samyang 75mm, but it's so funny because over the last several years I've been using wider and wider and wider and wider lenses, and that's due to the fact that on the Panasonic Micro Four Thirds cameras, I felt that I needed to get a little extra juice out of that small sensor, meaning you don't have much background blur with the equivalent lenses. Of course, you got to get closer, get further away from your background, or get longer lenses. And what I tended to do and became accustomed of is getting a longer lens, zooming all the way in, or if it was like the Olympus 75mm, which is like 35mm something, or 190, I can't remember, 190mm. I would use those long lenses and then just back up till I get the shot that I want. That way the compression and the perceived blurrier backgrounds make the Micro Four Thirds small sensor look a little more interesting. Well, I did that for so long that I was still doing that type of thing, but now that I've gotten full frame cameras more consistently now in the last what is it, 2 or 3 years, whatever it's been? No, more than that. Time goes by so quick. 4 years probably. I'm getting wider and wider lenses because you don't have to have longer lenses to get a juicy look, because a 50mm at f1.8 can give you a juicy look. Also, what I'm learning is a 24mm at f1.4 can give you a juicy look as well. So that's why I'm not using the Samyang 75mm f1.8 that much, because I'm going wider. I don't need that, you know, I'm getting sick of going so far away from my model or my subject to get the shot. So same with the Tamron, I would zoom in at 75 and do the same, but when I put the 50 on, I feel really good because I'm closer to my subject. I can talk to them. I can say, you know, fix your hair, look this way. Oh, you got some lint here. with those longer lenses, you're so far away, you have to literally get up, walk forward, say, no, your hair here, because they can't hear you, or people walking in between you, all those types of situations. So 50 millimeter feels really good. I said, what lens would there be on the market that I could put on my camera that is a prime, not a zoom, because I love primes for various reasons that I've talked about in the past. But what lens is there that I could put on and have it maybe on there 95% of the time? Because I realize, you know, there's going to be a small percentage where you just need a narrower field of view because there's a trash can back there, and maybe a wide lens not going to cut it, so you're going to need it. And of course, a longer lens you're going to have to change for a wider lens. So that's where the G Master comes in. Now this is the 24 millimeter f1.4 G Master, and I'm not into heavy, expensive gear unless that gear has something specific that is going to make my life as a photographer easier. 24 millimeters. I'm thinking and hoping that this could be the lens that I could put on my Sony A7C and leave it on there 95% of the time. Because all the situations I've told you about so far, I always had to have a 24 in the bag because there's going to be a time throughout the day where I need it. So I decided to go with this because I'm like I said, I'm going wider, so I'm kind of liking the idea of starting to do portrait photography with 24, not headshots, but like waist up and full body shots. If you ever go to my Instagram, which I suggest you do because I don't do a lot here on YouTube, but I do a whole bunch on Instagram, you're going to notice that most of the photography that I do is environmental shots. And that means when I have a 50 on there, I got to go back, even though I don't have to go real far back, but sometimes I do, depending on the environment. So with the 24 millimeter, I don't have to go that far back. I can get the environment shots. I just have to learn because I don't do much portrait photography with 24. The only shots I usually do is every once in a while I'll put the 24 on there, I'll get low and I'll shoot up at the model or at my wife when we're traveling to see some cool background of some sort. So I do use it for that, but I need to learn to do just regular straight on type portraits with the 24. So even though I'm a professional for 12 years, I've still got to learn stuff, and that's with the 24. So I can imagine, and I'm hoping that having this on the Sony A7C, which isn't that large. I mean, if you look at this, this is the kit lens. My blue shirt. This is the kit lens. If you can't see it good, it's literally like about twice the size of the kit lens, and it's only about that much. Only about that much longer than the 50 millimeter, and the Zeiss is even a little longer than that, so it's not a very big lens. It kind of looks like it, but man, when it's on the Sony A7C, it feels really good. So anyways, 24 millimeters, because it's at the f1.4, I can still get blurrier background, especially if you get close to subject. It's got a close focus distance, so I can still get really cool wide shots of objects out on the street. And because it's super sharp, that still gives me room to crop if I want to use crop mode, or if I want to do an environmental shot, or I don't want to get too close to a tighter shot of a model. I can stand back a little bit, maybe a waist up shot, and in post, or use APS-C mode in the camera, or in post, crop and get tighter and not have so much distortion as you would if I were just to keep it at 24 and try to fill the frame up with the subject. So this might be the new 95% on my camera lens, but I don't know yet. So this is kind of the first shout out while I'm doing a test in my studio here. So if you have any questions, leave some comments. So right now, those are my lenses. Just to recap, the kit lens, this is the 28 to 60 millimeter kit lens, the Sony 50 millimeter, and the Samyang 24 millimeter. But of course, I would replace the Samyang with this. Go to Aaron J. Anderson at my Instagram. Most of the photos, if not all, you see from today on forward will be with this lens. I'm going to do my best to use this. If I have to get the 50 out, then I would definitely tell you guys, like, oh, here's a situation where I had to switch to the 50. So enough rambling. If you got any questions, let me know, and I will come back with a review on this to let you guys know if I am going to keep this or not. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.